Hi Claire, Robert here. Thanks for allowing me to present this video here to the students about sports commerce, media and identity. Just want to, for their own benefit, run over what the module involves, the themes involved, and also the assessments, and why your sports, your tourism and hospitality students should select this module, which I'm sure will be a lot of fun for them. Just specifically, we actually have a lot of sports students just now who are actually working in the tourism and hospitality industry, so I think there would be commonality there for some of your students to actually mix with them after Christmas. If we go into the themes involved in this module, the themes involved are commercialisation and the impact of commercialisation on sport and tourism and on leisure. We look at sport as an entertainment. We also look at new technologies, new media technologies as well, which is quite important. We also actually look at mega events from a tourism and sports perspective, as in what they are, what's their attraction, and leading on to that is looking at the politics of these events and the politics of sport. For example, why governments would have decided to make tourism, a government policy. Why governments would ask cities to bid for events, because it's all about national identity. It's all about promoting their particular areas of interest. And we've got some examples of that, of the national Trossachs National Park, the Cairngorms National Park, and the Homecoming would be some examples of case studies that we actually go over, talking about this, as in why governments are so very keen to fund this, why they're acting as guarantors for this. The other themes involved are looking at the governance of sport, as in who controls it, which is very important regarding media rights, etc. And one of the most important things I would want to probably get across to your students is looking at, part of this module is looking at social divisions, as in who benefits from government policy on tourism, on sport, on media, or who is excluded. Groups in society who are excluded. If you're not part of the political genre of Scottish sport, you're excluded. And we've got lots of case studies that we'll ask your students to do. We also do a section on nationalism. As I said to you before, we will be looking at case studies like the Homecoming, Celtic Connections, for example, which are firmly embedded in this kind of government-backed strategy. The assessments, just very briefly, the assessments are, there is an individual essay in week 11, which the students will actually pick one question from two, and traditionally the themes have been the relationship of sport and the media. We want students to critique that, whether it's strong, whether it's good, whether it's positive, or to present an argument for both. And we also look at the idea of sport championing positive values, the idea that sport or leisure or fitness or tourism is all about positive values, and we ask the students to question that and suggest occasions where it actually becomes negative as well as being a concept for good. The delivery of it is a 2-hour lecture, a 2-hour slot next year. And after the first couple of weeks, what we've actually imposed upon the students through their own choice is that they come along with the theme every week, and we get students within the first hour to present a theme, and in the second hour we look at analysing it. And what we have found with that is that students are allowed the autonomy to pick their own topic. So we've had students that came from a fitness background, we've had students that came from a hospitality background, we've had students who have actually talked about sports tourism aspects of it, mega events. One of the students last year did a synopsis of the Cairngorms National Park and why the government was so keen to support skiing there and throw their lot behind skiing. So that was a very good seminar, and it brought up global issues of nationalism and tourism and why it's such a major concept in society just now. So that's really it. So the format would be, it's a 2-hour session, and it's very autonomous. The students get a lot of flexibility. And as I would say to your students, in the past, as I said to you before, we've had lots of students who have actually done tourism, sports tourism and hospitality, and we've found that rather than inhibit the learning in the class, they've actually added a real richness to the sort of synergy of the group. Because a lot of the sports students will come from mainstream sports, performing sports, from coaching, from dance, from football, etc. And those students who have presented a tourism perspective on this have actually changed their thinking within tourism, and how the concept of sport event tourism is actually, as a research group, is very closely linked together. The last thing is why your students should come and do this. Well, it's a very good module. It's very informal. It's very relaxed. We will be looking at a lot of case studies, practical case studies on YouTube. We'll ask students to collect data. We also have a blog with discussion forums, and we have a Facebook page where we will create discussion threads for the students to feed back in. So, you know, some of the sessions may finish after an hour, but what we'll ask students to do is, you know, go home or at weekends to keep checking their Facebook site on this closed site. I have to mention it's a closed site to do that, and we'll ask them to respond to certain questions. So there's a real blended learning approach there, and I do think your students, like the sports students, will particularly like this approach because they themselves have got a lot to add. I'm going to send you the link to this video, and I'll also send you the module handbook for the students to look at. With any questions, the students can get me on 331 8485, and they can email me as well for any more details. But hopefully, you know, we'll get quite a lot of your students to come and pick this fantastic, wonderful module. Okay, I'll speak to you soon. Cheers, thanks, bye.